A few days ago, I decided to play Fallout New Vegas again after about a year. My saved game had a character at level 43 at a very strange location. I was at a part of the map called Lone Wolf Radio. It was a derelict trailer full of various audio equipment for what I assume was sending out some sort of pirate radio signal. The area didn't seem all too interesting at first, mostly because there was no valuable loot besides a Sunset Sarsaparilla star cap and a copy of the Wasteland Survival Guide. What piqued my interest about the trailer was the graffiti that covered the inside. On the outside, written in some kind of spray paint, it said, "Keep out." I'm guessing this message was written by an outsider and not by the person whom lived in the trailer, who I will call the Lone Wolf. The message scrawled on the inside was far more disconcerting. It read, "Everyone is gone. I am alone." And it was written in blood. I decided to look deeper into the matter of this trailer and get some answers about this very out-of-place location. After rigorous investigation, I managed to track down a person online who could answer my questions. He claimed to be a former employee at Obsidian Studios. Although I found his claim dubious at best, I decided to hear him out as he was the best lead I had at this point. He told me that the location was going to tie into a major quest line. You would tune into your radio at around 2 a.m. to hear the Lone Wolf spout incomprehensible gibberish and proceed to murder a random person. This process would intensify if you ignored the broadcast to the point where he would murder a child. According to the former employee, who went by Thomas, they cut the plotline for many reasons. The most obvious being that a quest in which a child is murdered is far too graphic for a game with a tone like Fallout New Vegas. Me and Thomas had a long conversation about the possibility of accessing the game data. Here is an excerpt from our email messages. How far along was the quest before it was cut? We were almost finished, but right before the game was ready, we got a message from upstairs that they wanted the entire questline cut from the game for undisclosed reasons. Okay, so I'm wondering, since the questline was cut from the game late in development, do you think there's any way to get to it or something? I'm pretty sure it would still be on there. When we cut material from the game, we often left the data in the files rather than completely delete it. So you're saying all the files are there? No, most of them are gone. You'll probably only find a couple of the files on the disks. Do you know of any way I could get the rest of the files? Unless you worked there, you're not going to find anything. Well, thanks for the help, Thomas. I'm going to keep my eyes open for anything about this. Alright, good luck and take it easy. After about 2 weeks of hunting with no results, I was about to give up on the matter when I received an anonymous email stating it had what I was looking for. I heard you were looking for the files to the Lone Wolf quest. I attached them here. Don't reply back. I found it a little disconcerting that I'd get the files in such a manner, but I was amazed to actually get them. I packaged them into an ESP file and got to work. I reloaded my save and waited until 2 a.m. for the radio signal. Sure enough, I picked up the radio frequency. But what I heard in the broadcast disturbed me deeply. I'll write down what I heard below. All alone. I am the last true person alive. All around me the skies weep and the earth howls for blood. The very pits of the great below open for another offering. I hope this meager soul pleases you. All of a sudden, I heard a voice chime in, halting his belligerent rambling. Someone help me. I'm not supposed to be here. I only came here for the audition. I don't want to die. I felt very confused about this line of dialogue. For one, it didn't sound like one of the regular voice actors in Fallout New Vegas. It sounded like a regular person. For another, the line didn't seem to match what was being said at all. I don't know what audition he's referring to. I listened to the broadcast some more. You pathetic creature, you do not deserve to stand before the mother of the depths. Mother, take this flesh and enjoy its blood. No, please don't, I'm begging you, no! What I heard made me feel very sick. It sounded like a knife was being worked into the man's torso, and the scream he let out was horrifying. This sounded almost like a real murder. After a minute, I traveled to Lone Wolf Radio to continue the quest. The first thing I noticed about the area was there was no music. I chalked it up to the WAV file being missing from the folder. The other thing I noticed was the trailer had more graffiti on it. The messages looked fresher than the previous two pieces, and, like the message on the inside, it was written in blood. They read, "Mother of the Depths, take this flesh." And the other one appeared just to be a tally mark, like he's keeping track of his kills. I walked into the trailer when something on the screen flashed with a quick sound of static. The picture flashed too quickly for me to see it, but I felt very uncomfortable. Inside the trailer, I saw the corpse of the man who was killed. He had a knife stuck in his body, and several of his fingers were missing. They had looked like they were chewed off. He didn't look like your standard Fallout character. He appeared to have a custom model with a hairstyle that isn't available in the game. It looked like the shaggy suave hairstyle, but less flattened. The face model also appeared more detailed than normal. The radio equipment was shut off as well. I noticed far more blood than what is normally there, and it had a somewhat finer texture about it compared to the blood you'd usually see in the game. I turned around to search the body when the screen flashed again, and I heard the static sound once more. I decided I'm going to take a look in the folder and see if I can find the reason behind the flashing. When I opened the folder, I noticed a file that was simply labeled Picture. When I clicked on it, what I saw made me sick to my stomach. It was a person with a kitchen knife in their torso, and several of their fingers gnawed to the bone. He appeared to be in some abandoned house that was rotting and falling apart. After a moment, I noticed something. The person in this photo looked just like the character that was murdered by the lone wolf. I think I'm going to look into this tomorrow, but for now, I'm not going to touch this again until I figure out what is going on. The next day, I decided to contact Thomas again to see if he knew anything about this gruesome picture. This is what he said. "Hey, Thomas, I managed to get my hands on the files for that lone wolf quest, and what I saw really freaked me out." "What was it?" "There was a picture of a person who had been murdered, and he looked like the model of the character the lone wolf kills." That can't be right. I didn't put anything like that in the quest." "This makes me feel really uneasy, man. I don't get what's going on here. Was there anything else there?" "Other than the disturbing radio message, I didn't see anything else." "Radio message? We never finished the voice acting." I felt very nauseous. If Thomas and his team didn't finish the voice acting, then what was going on here? I tried to contact the person who sent me the message, but the email address had been deleted. Although I don't feel comfortable about playing this quest, I want to figure out what is going on. I start up Fallout New Vegas, and I notice there's something amiss. There is no music playing on the title screen now. I went to load my save, but it was missing. Replacing the file now is a save for a level 1 character at Lone Wolf Radio. When I loaded it, I noticed this character had no clothes on, and my Pip-Boy was missing. There is now a fence around the trailer, so I couldn't leave the area. Without any options, I decided to step into the trailer. When I did, the screen flashed what I assume was that disgusting picture, and that same static sound happened, but it was longer than last time. It was pitch black now, save for the radio equipment. I couldn't move from my spot for some reason. Just as I was ready to shut the game off, a person walked up and started dialogue. It was the lone wolf himself. He spoke to my character and talked about the Mother of the Depths like last time, but this time he asked me to help him in making an offering to the Mother of the Depths. I didn't like where this was going, but I accepted anyway, just to see where this quest was going. He leaves for a second and comes back with a child. I feel like I'm gonna throw up. Like the previous person, this model is not like any character in Fallout New Vegas, and he had a far more detailed character model. I wanted to shut the game off, but the escape button wasn't working, and neither was my Alt-Tab and Control-Alt-Delete buttons. The lone wolf spoke his words of offering and proceeded to raise a sledgehammer. The child model was crying and spoke, "Please, mister, I'm scared. I want to go home." The dialogue was eerily realistic, and I remembered my previous experience with this. I feel very tense now, and just as he's about to hit the child with a sledgehammer, the screen flashes, and the game crashes. I have a cold bead of sweat running down now as I open the file. I see a new file labeled Picture, just like the last one. With great hesitation, I open the file. What I see makes me start to tear up, and I yelped. It was a photo of a child with his head caved in, and blood drenched everywhere. After that, I deleted the Lone Wolf ESP, and I uninstalled my copy of Fallout New Vegas. I can't play it anymore after that. I haven't heard anything from Thomas or the person that sent me that file. But then again, I don't think I want to hear anything about it after going through that.